here, so he has avoided that interchange. Although the interchange is open, he has avoided that 5170 interchange, and now he's on Roscoe, back on surface streets, and he's going to be westbound from the 170 here.
Back on a major street, too, as we were talking earlier, Megan, how scary that is. Roscoe Boulevard, you know, that major street that will take him all the way over to the 405 freeway, and then again, he's got plenty of options because I'm really not seeing any slowing, no incidents, nothing to speak of that will obstruct him.
Yeah,
I think he just ran another red light.
Yeah, this is the part where
Sure
we do. We get especially nervous. And once again, if you're just joining us, thanks for waking up with us. As you can see, a police pursuit happening right now. We got word of it about 4 a.m. this morning, went on the air with it about 15 minutes or so later. We don't know a lot of information about the suspect at this point. We don't know if there's more than one suspect in the car because, as you can see, it's dark out there. We do know that this is a 2012 Jaguar. This car is believed to be stolen from somewhere in the valley. Again, we're not sure if it was stolen from a residence. We're not sure if it was stolen from a dealership. That's pretty much all the information we know right now. It's been very, very dangerous at times, mainly because of the high rates of speed, over 100 miles per hour at some points.
And you know what's interesting, and I'm not sure why they do or do not do this, but the LAPD, you just saw another officer right there.
Yes.
He didn't have his lights and sirens on. He was just waiting for this guy to go by.
Right.
Maybe because it's obvious with the other half-dozen patrol cars that are following him, both CHP and LAPD. It's fascinating how they're handling this. They're trying to keep it as safe as possible when it reaches these high speeds.
Right.
They don't want to be right up against the guy because they don't want to exacerbate a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, and Ginger, I know, is very familiar with those intricacies in terms of how police and officers kind of deal with this type of situation. Ginger?
Well, I think that what you were talking about, Chris, there is that it's a danger because you mentioned that we don't know who else is in there, but we also don't know whether or not the person has weapons or anything like that, if the person has a history. So they could be, you know, once they approach the car, it could be very dangerous. We just don't know, and officers don't know as well. All they know is it's a stolen vehicle, as we mentioned, possibly out of Van Nuys, and that's it. And because of that, they have to, of course, proceed with caution, not knowing anything. And, you know, when it's a pursuit, this appears to be a situation where they may have confirmed that this is a stolen vehicle, and that's the reason they are in hot pursuit of him here in Van Nuys, traveling on westbound side on Roscoe Boulevard.
As we approach the 5 o'clock hour, we want to make sure that our viewers understand.
Over the boulevard, and he's coming up to the 405.
Oh, he is once again coming up to the 405.
There it is.
No, I was just giving a station note. You're watching the KTLA Morning News as we approach the 5 a.m. hour. You're watching a car chase, LAPD and CHP. It began in the San Fernando Valley just after 4 a.m.
Roscoe Boulevard on-ramp to the 405 South there in Van Nuys, and you saw that there looked like a catering truck that he had not a near miss with, but it could have been very dangerous there because, as I mentioned before, this is the time that everyone's just getting on the roads.
I was on the east side here. I'm at 27.
405 freeway southbound side from Roscoe Boulevard through Van Nuys, and then again, he's got those options open for him to travel 405 over to the 101, as Mark's mentioning now. He's slowing down.
Yeah, quite a bit, and you're starting to notice more traffic out there than we did a little bit earlier. Mark, do you have any idea how slow? There, pretty slow. Okay, so he's
running out of gas.
Coming to a stop here, southbound side of the 405 freeway. He has just pulled off to the right shoulder here, lights off, and we have one suspect bailing out of the passenger side here, going into the bushes.
Wow.
And wow, there you go. Okay, we're going to try and come around to the west here to see if we can kind of keep eyes on this guy. But again, yeah, the suspect bailed out of the passenger side, hopped over the fence, and is now on a frontage road just on the west side of the 405, traveling northbound through an alley.
It looks like it might be Aqueduct Avenue.
Looks like a red T-shirt, blue jeans, traveling northbound, running as fast as he can here. I don't have any police units on the ground that I see as of yet, but hopefully that'll change shortly here. This guy is traveling northbound, and it looks like he's in more or less what you might consider an open area here. So hopefully LAPD can get a hold of this guy very quickly here. The airship, of course, does have their night zone on him, and so he is not going to be able to get away at this point. But you know, assuming that he just kind of keeps northbound through this alley.
Hey, Mark, we want to tell viewers, if you're just joining us, you're watching the KTLA Morning News. We were first on the air this morning with this high-speed pursuit. This suspect accused of stealing a 2012 Jaguar from a location somewhere in the valley. As you can see, he's just abandoned his vehicle.
Okay.
And Mark, I wonder if we can, there we go, okay, see if we can see him. He looks like he's getting tired, slowing down quite a bit. But speeds are reaching excess of up to 120 miles per hour at one point, a little bit earlier on the freeways, the 405, the 101, kind of going in circles. We've been watching for quite a while. Looks like we may have lost him. We'll see if we can get around.
Yeah, he's on the north side of that structure by those railroad tracks. You are watching the KTLA Morning News at 5 a.m. You see the airship right there. That's LAPD. We're above all of that. Mark, that's their light on the suspect.
That looks like a...
Yeah, that is the LAPD night. That is the LAPD nights, and we suspect that the suspect may have actually gone into the building here. We lost him on kind of the north side of it, but there he is right there. There he is right there, just off the loading dock in the back of the building here, still traveling on foot, running as fast as he can there. Now he's right near that big rig truck there, and we'll kind of see where they are able to pick him up. There's an LAPD officer on foot, just within a few yards of being able to capture this guy, and so hopefully that remains the case, and he's going to try and climb that fence.
Looks like they got him.
And now he is going to be taken into custody here. So they have tackled him. He's on the ground here. We're going to be repositioned a little bit over to the south here and see if we can get a better shot.
There are also,
okay,
I think he's under something.
Hard to say without the night sun. But it does look like we do have a couple of officers here who may have the guy in custody here.
What's scary is initially, because I have this large monitor, I actually saw there were two just civilians just sitting by a car as all this was happening.
Okay, did he run into a tunnel? Did he crawl into a tunnel?
Oh, so they may not have gotten him.
Yeah, these CHP officers going back to their vehicles right now, and then we have two LAPD officers in that initial location. It looks like we have another CHP officer that is running to a different location, and they're saying that it appears that maybe in this area. So this is just in Van Nuys, off the railroad tracks, and it looks like maybe just a little bit to the east of Van Nuys Airport. Mark and I used to work there, and so we're very familiar with this area, and some of those smaller streets would include Haskell and Aqueduct, but here's the deal. This is an industrial area, a lot of businesses, and a lot of places that this suspect could hide.
Yeah, still not in custody.
So our producer has mentioned, it looked like he went into some sort of a drain of some sort, possibly under the bridge, but it does look like they've got it kind of surrounded from each side. Gosh, it's so hard to tell when it's this dark, but...
Yeah, definitely hard to tell, with all the activity going on here. It looks like he may have gone into a tunnel or something like that. Yeah, there you go. That's the tunnel that he went into, apparently. And so this suspect remains outstanding, still not in custody here. The LAPD kind of pulling back, but they are setting up, I guess you could call it sort of a perimeter here on both sides. And so hopefully they will be able to take this guy into custody here. But, again, this guy remains at large. He just evaded capture here just moments ago. We thought that we were coming to the end of this pursuit, and yet the suspect crawled into the tunnel, and there you go. He has evaded capture for the time being, at least. Guys?
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before police dogs arrive on scene, and that becomes an added way for officers to get at this guy. You see, I mean, we can assume that the drainage goes to the other side, but you just don't know.
You have no idea.
Yeah, he could be just parked in the middle. You never know what he's doing.
Yeah, and Ginger, give us an idea again of this location. We know it's in the Van Nuys area. This is obviously an industrial area of some sort.
Yeah, it looks like when he got on the freeway, he wasn't on that 405 south from Roscoe Boulevard for very long, and then he hopped over the fence. And so there's no real street there. I mean, the major streets that anybody would be familiar with would be Haskell and then Aqueduct, which actually ends. And so that may be where we saw him, because we saw that he was running into like what appeared to be a dead end. And you see the railroad tracks that run adjacent to the 405 freeway. So if you know Van Nuys Airport, let's just say it would be your major marker. This would be on the westbound side of, east, I should say, of Van Nuys Airport, and just maybe not even a mile or so west of the 405 freeway. In fact, you can see the 405 to the top right of your screen there. I've actually seen a pursuit take place in this very spot where people, some of the suspects actually hopped over and actually climbed some of the rooftops of some of these businesses. But this guy did something completely different. And as I mentioned before, this is kind of an industrial area. And possibly Mark is now saying that maybe these LAPD officers have a visual of the suspect.
Mark.
Yeah, okay, so we have little bits of information here. This is all happening on the 8100 block of Haskell, where Haskell dead ends just south of Roscoe here. It's on the west side of the 405 freeway here. This suspect, apparently for the time being evading capture by the LAPD, went into that drainage hole, but for a time there was suspicion that, they didn't know where the other end of the drainage hole came out. Was it just on the north side of the tracks, or did it kind of go into a cavern of tunnels here? But now we are hearing that they may have visual visual contact with the suspect here. So